reconnect, Ian. Keeps saying trying to reconnect. Just, I'm on, but just check the signal's okay. Just, I'm on, but just check the signal's okay. Hi, Trudy. Hi, Kim. I'm just going to leave the sound on to make sure it's working. Hi, Trudy. Yes, it is. Hi, Kim. Hello, Kim. Hi there. Oh, two Kims. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Hello, Anne. Hello, Monica. Hello there. I hope everybody's well. Now, I'm hoping I'm a little bit closer. Good evening, Ruth. I'm hoping I'm a little bit closer. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Kim. I hope you're all well. Hey up, Heidi. I'm hoping I'm a little bit closer. Good evening, Sally. Hello, Patricia. Hi, lovely. Hello, Sally. Hello, Tracy. I'm here with my cuppa, bar of chocolate and a cuppa. That sounds perfect to me. Hi, Katinka. I hope you're well, Flower. Hello, Trudy. Now, am I a little bit closer so you can see me better? Hello, Sheila. Hello there. So just want to check I'm a little bit closer, which means that my hands are a bit closer. Oh, dear. I don't know if that's me a thumbs up that you've got sound and that you can see me better. So if you can just give me the thumbs up. Good evening, Dee. Hello, Lynn. I'm glad you've caught the live. What time is it where you are, Lynn? Hello, Mimi. And Rachel says, hi, Sally. Sunshine. Hello, Kate Smith. Yes, I've got loads of thumbs up. And am I close enough for you? Am I close enough? Hello, Louise. Hello there. View is definitely closer. And is it close enough, Anne? Hello, Deborah. Hello there. So I just need to know, Anne, is it close enough? It feels like it's on top of my hands to me. Yes, that's fine. Thank you, Ruth. Hello from Holland. Hello, Bertine. I've made it. Hello, Lee. Warm welcome, Lee. It's lovely to have your company. Hello, Nicola. I do. No chocolate here. No, he did buy a pudding though, Heidi. Hi, Jean. I think chocolate is a must. Good evening, Dee. Hello, Anne. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne McCarthy. Thank you. Lovely project today, Anne. It's perfect to stop saying try to connect. It's just right. Thank you, Anne. Good evening, Heather. Hands and sound. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. Hello, Trace. Hello there. Hey, there's a lot of Traces, isn't there? Tracy, Trace. Hello, Jules. Hello, everybody. So I like to say a few hellos and then we'll get on with it. Whatever it is that I'm going to make. Hope you're all right, Leslie. So a lot of Leslies as well. Hello, Marie. Hello there. Lovely to have your company. Hey up, Diane. Hey up. It was jam roly-poly. I don't eat puddings, but I do like chocolate. Is it just like old times, Karen, where I'm saying everybody's name and then I keep wondering about the connection? Hello, Catherine. Good evening, Catherine. Sue. Hello, welcome. Two Sallys tonight. See, it's going to confuse me because it doesn't take much. So if I mention you by your surname, it's so that you know I've mentioned you because there's too many of you. Hey up, Chuck. You all right? Leg up, ice waiting for hubby to get back with Chinese. Oh, Leslie, that sounds perfect. It's lovely. A Saturday evening. My hubby and son are watching the football. So I thought, perfect. Perfect. So I'll have to say, I don't know what this star thing is, but when I went live with the video, I couldn't get rid of adding stars or something. So I had to leave that on. So just ignore it when it says, give me stars or something. I don't know what that means, but I couldn't get rid of it. So just ignore it. Now, truth, Diane, I have been 6 times. 6 times. Oh, a chippy tea, Sally. Oh, lovely. Right. So we've got a few that are joining me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I've got. Hello, Anne. Amelia. Hello there. Good evening. Hi, Kate. Chocolate and puddings for me. Yes, everything that's not good for me, I love. So I'm going to say what I've got on my desk and we'll see what we make. I see you know me too well, Diane, and I've not changed one bit. I said to Ian tonight, I said, wouldn't you think years that I wouldn't get nervous? Never changes. Never changes. So I'm going to show you what I've got on my desk. I've got some of my card blanks. I've got some white card 4x6. I don't think I'll use a black mat, but I have got another mat that I could colour. So hello, Mia. Hello there. I probably pronounced that incorrectly. But I've got my bits and pieces on my desk that were already on my desk. And I literally just sort of, because I thought, let's just showcase some of the older release because they're just as good as the new release. And with the new release, I tend to do a lot of YouTubes and my lovely design team are showcasing the new release. And if you watch out for Heidi, the Yorkshire Crafter, she has a YouTube live tomorrow, Sunday at 10 a.m. Yay, I remembered to mention it. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Heidi Walker or Heidi, the Yorkshire Crafter. Hello, Raffaella. Hello. I'm going to use, let's bring these out. It takes me longer to pull them out. I'm going to use TE22. I don't know what else I'm going to use, but that's the way it goes. And then I'm going to use TE38. So I'm going to use TE38 and TE22. Again, because people join later as well. And it'd be lovely if they joined you. So I'm going to use these 2 stamps if anybody's sort of crafting along with me. If not, it's absolutely fine. So it was a lovely time to do a live because I knew that my husband and my son would be watching football. So if you hear any screams, Man United have scored a goal. Is Facebook playing up? Oh, great, Heather. Lovely. We love Facebook playing up. That really helps. Wonderful. So I'm going to use these 2 stamps. I know that I'm going to use Blueprint Sketch. You can use any blue. So I may use a green as well. We shall see. I'll just see. But I've got those on my desk. I've got some low-tack tape. Hello, Susan. Hello there. Warm welcome. Did you leave the swear box out? They just ignore me anyway, Diane. But if you hear any screaming, really, Susan, it's lovely to have your company. So what I'm going to do now is, what else have I got on my desk? Oh, the other thing I've got on my desk is I've got some imitation gold leaf. You can tell it's really expensive. So I've got some gold leaf. But actually, I think this is gold leaf sheets that then disintegrated and I've got them in here. My hubby is watching the England ladies match. I didn't even know the England ladies match was on, but I am pretty hopeless when it comes to the idea of these little impromptu Facebook lives is to reconnect with everybody and just create some simple projects. And the reason I say simple projects is that takes pressure off me because then they're not too complicated. And also it welcomes the beginners to craft as well, so that the beginners don't feel quite so left out with, you know, too many projects that have got too many layers, etc. So some of these Facebook lives will be very simple. We're fixed on listening to your waffle, so won't hear the boys. Do you reckon, Diane? Do you reckon? Right, let's move these out of the way. Now, I've tried to be organised. I don't know how long that will last, but we'll see. I've got my water. It's not gin, it's water. I've taken quite a liking to fizzy water. So I've got a 4 by 6 inch piece of Pink Frog Super Smooth card. And it is 4 by 6 inches. And I can't stop the ring doorbell either from ringing, so that's going to add tuneful tunes. Why anybody is going outside our back door when it's pitch black, I do not know. I've told them that. Hello, Janet. Hello there. Thank you for joining me, Janet. You might not say it's lovely to see me live if I make a hotchpotch of the card. So be warned, I could make a bodge. So I'm very boring. I haven't had an alcoholic drink for 30 years. It's not because I didn't want an alcoholic drink, it's because I've got my best friend, which is my kitchen towel. So you say, honestly, Lee. So I've got my kitchen towel, which is my best friend. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some low tack tape. I've got some blending brushes as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off. How much am I going to mask off? Let's mask off sort of part of the edges. Oh, my Facebook sound comes and goes and freezes. Oh, lovely, Heather. You've gone back out and come back in, haven't you? You've done that. I know you've said that. This is the only thing I can't have any influence over. And that's poor old Facebook. As long as Facebook, you know, allows me to be. So that's the only downside. But hey ho, we keep practicing. We keep persevering, don't we? So let's just cut my low tack tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up so that you can see. So you can see, I'm just going to tilt this. Can you see? I've used my low tack tape. I don't do measure. Wait for Tracy's to start burping and belching, then we will know it's fizz. It's fizzy water. But just so you can see, can you see that the more people on social media on a Saturday evening, maybe? Maybe that's why. Maybe there's more on. I mean, I can, if you want, I mean, I can stop it, go back out and come back in again, but it doesn't mean it will be any better. But I can do that if you wish. This tape, yes, I love this tape. I do, Heidi, as well. I've got my low tack tape, and can you see, I've not measured anything. So I've just put that on 3 sides. Can you see? And I've left the bottom edge free. So I've just left my bottom edge free. If it continues, I can go out and start again. Sorry, are you saying, oh, Anne loves this tape done again. Okay, Diane, no problem. So you can see that it's fine here. Thanks, Trace. I think it's just different areas. It's the way it is, isn't it, with Facebook? Just some people, it is what it is, isn't it, Sue? There's nothing you can do about it, really. The low tack tape, let me see if I've got a box. Let me see, here I am. Just bear with me. Scotch removable. Hello, Sue. Hello there. So I use Scotch removable. And the only reason I will recommend anything, the tape's from Amazon, Ruth. The only reason I will ever recommend something is because it works for me. Let's just move that up a bit there. So it works for me and it's never failed me. So that's all I can go by. And it's absolutely brilliant. But can you see? Just free. So I've left the bottom edge free. That's not got any low tack tape on. So there's no low tack tape on there. So I think I'll just place it at an angle. Hello, Penny. Hello there. Welcome, Penny Harris. We have Sky Superfiber now, but Signal's still no better around here. Snapd. I've got Superfiber. I think it might be from BT. I don't know. I'm not very good on technology, but we've got Superfiber. Fiber. Come on, Tracy. And I'm going to use Blueprint Sketch. Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm sort of aiming for is I want to have really dark edge and then sort of coming out lighter. So I'm going to use the Blueprint Sketch. So I'm going to pick up plenty of ink. Hello, Penny. That's my budgie name. Oh, budgies. So I'm going to ink my blending brush up. See, the gin's getting to me. You see? Honestly, it's fizzy water. But listen, I don't need alcohol and I still can't speak properly. So look how much ink I'm putting on my blending brush, because you need to make sure that whichever tool you're using, not me being the tool, the actual implement you're using, you need to make sure that's primed beautifully. So make sure you've got lots and lots and lots. Now, when I first go down, I'm going to hold my blending brush here, right down here. Hello, Kathy Lake. Hello there. I'm going to hold my blending brush down here. I have no time, but wanted to see what you're showing. Greetings from Munich. Good evening, Esther. Good evening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in nice here. So can you see where my hand is on my blending brush? So I'm right down on that blending brush so that I can push that ink really hard down onto the Pink Frog Super Smooth. So it's really hard down. You can see how much ink I primed my brush with because of how much ink there is on the low tack tape. So you can see how much ink I've added there. But then freezing every so often, I think it's just Facebook, Janet. There's nothing I can do, Flower. I've definitely got the best network I can get. There's just nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. Sorry. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going, and with this ink that's on my low tack tape and around here, I'm going to drag that in very gently. So I'm just going to blend it out very gently. So we're just going to blend that gently. No problem, Heather, no problem. Sometimes it is what it is, but I can leave the live and come back in if you wish me to restart, but I don't think it'll be much better. I think it's more about how many people are using social media and Facebook on a Saturday evening. I think it's more about, so you can see, oh, is some bad weather coming again? Oh, great. Why do I always decide to do a Facebook Live when the bad weather's coming? You can always rely on me. Yeah, if the weather's bad, that's what happens. Can you see I've not added any more ink to this? So I'm just very lightly, see how loose my fingers are on that blending brush? Just very loose. That's what I did, but it's not over. I'm sorry about that, Elmy. Unfortunately, sometimes these things happen with Facebook. I will add this to YouTube as well afterwards so that you can watch it on the big screen should you wish to watch it on the big screen. Have you got bad wind as well, Diane? No. What does that mean, Janet? Partner has got TV in, so not got any sound. Ah, I don't know. So you've got no sound and you've got the subtitles, have you? And it's making up my words. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to... We left some horrendous weather in North Wales today. Oh, I forgot about the weather. Now I'm just wiping some of this ink off. And the only reason I'm wiping some of it off, this colour is Blueprint Sketch. So I'm using Blueprint Sketch. I'm dragging any more of that ink onto my surface. But I still want to keep... No problem. Thanks, Alma. So I'm just wiping off the ink. And some of you will be saying, well, why are you wiping off the ink, Tracy? Because I don't want to make that any darker now. I'm quite happy with what I've got on there. So I'm just cleaning up my low tack tape. So it's Blueprint Sketch. Thank you, Diane, for answering the question. As I add a little bit of moisture, I'll get a little bit of bleed underneath the low tack tape. But I like that because it makes it a little bit more feathered. I quite like that. Looks like a snowman already. You could have a head here, the body here, a little carrot there. Oh, it does look like a snowman. That does look like a snowman, and I didn't plan it. I'm not doing a snowman. It does actually look like a snowman. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use TE38. Not on main chat, Janet. So I'm going to use TE38 and I'm going to use this one. So let's take our tree. And we're going to use that, so it's quite dark, so I'm going to use the black. I love Blueprint Sketch, Sue. It's lovely. It's a lovely, rich blue. It really is lovely and rich. New Nocturne ink pad. So this is going to be super juicy. And what I need is, I need a pen. Bear with me. It's a lovely, rich blue, isn't it? It's really nice. What the date is? Oh, it's there in front of me. 25th of October. Because I like to just leave the date on there. Because, oh, look at that for writing. Because I keep a check how old things are. And I save some of my older ink pads for techniques. So I like to write the date on there. Right, so let's move this all out of the way. So I'm going to use my Nocturne ink. Now, bear in mind, stamping onto this oxide ink. So we need to be mindful of that because the surface is only more porous here, less porous here because you've got a barrier of that Distress oxide. So you just need to be mindful of that. I love the blue colour as well, Bally. I love the blue colour. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong. So I do apologise if I'm pronouncing people's names wrong. It's very ignorant. Nocturne ink. So I'm going to take the Nocturne ink. Make sure your stamp's not going to fall off. And you should know why I'm saying that because it's happened to me many, many times. So I'm going to add, let's just add it down here like that. So I'm just going to add this black ink here. I love this blue ink, Dee. It's lovely. Do you know, I'm really enjoying my creating, sort of playing with my inks, paints and things like that. I'm really enjoying it. Jade is making me a cuppa. Oh, you are privileged, Diane. Say hi to Jade for me. But can you see how long I'm holding that ink down there? Because you've got that oxide barrier on there within a couple of seconds. Well, you're not going to get a decent because you're not giving the ink time to do its thing. There we go. And then what I like to do is I like to take, got a dog, what? Oh, a dog's bum in the way. I wondered what you were saying. I thought, you've got a dog's bum. You've got your little fur baby on your knee, have you, Lee? You have to be careful how you say those things to me because it's a little bit worrying. So we've got our lovely, she said hello and Mum's not used her voucher yet. Listen, I've told her, Jade, 100 times. She doesn't listen to me. And if she doesn't listen to you, there's no chance she's going to listen to me. Now, we've got that ink on there. I will need to watch and like that comedian whose words local. Oh, right. I wondered what you were going to say then, Kathy. I'm crafting with a bit of blue now, but it's just what I had on my brush, so could be anything. I've done that as well. Hello, Paula. Hello, Paula. So I'm going to give this a blot. So let's blot our image. Now I see lots and lots of people blend with their inks and then they'll stamp with their black ink. Sits in corner feeling told off. So you should do. I see lots of people stamping with black ink and then they're wondering why they're covered in black ink here, and because you need to blot this. Now you might not be able to see this in camera. Can you see that little bit of ink there? Just here on my copier sheet. It's a good idea to blot that because it stops you from smudging it. So just give it a blot, just so that you don't smudge that ink. It's worth taking an extra few minutes. So I'm going to sort of bring this down here now. I think I want one more. So I'm going to take that black ink again, the Nocturne, and I'm going to just give that lots of tapping. And somebody did say to me, Tracy, why do you do lots of tapping just to make sure I've got a good even coverage of ink? And when you're talking to the screen and you're not concentrating like me, it's really easy to miss areas. So I always think that if we have some good house rules when we're stamping, we'll have less frustrations. Perishing here in Northampton, and I'm lying on the settee and she jumped up and stood with her bum in my face. Lovely. Lovely. So that's why I do lots of tapping. I also see lots of people taking their stamp to the ink like this. If you've got a juicy ink pad, what that will do is the ink will flood into the open areas of the photopolymer and you may end up with some over inking. So just be mindful, if you're a beginner, it's not always a good idea to follow everything that everybody says. It's been a sunny day here in Stafford. Well, I'm not far from you, Lee, and it's not been very sunny here. It's been horrible. So can you see what I've got now? You can see that I've got these two sort of branches here. And we're just going to give that a blot. Now, pleasure from my stamping, if I take my time, and if somebody says to me, I haven't got to rush, I find that I'm a lot more relaxed and I actually enjoy what I'm doing. Hello, Martine. Hello there. A lovely day in Norfolk as well. Well, can you send some of your lovely weather over here? I'm a woman of a certain age and all year I've been suffering with hot flushes. And when I wouldn't mind a hot flush, so I've just blotted that. It takes me an extra couple of minutes and it doesn't matter, does it? We could add maybe a little bit of gold touches as well. So we shall see anyway. We'll talk about that later. So let's put our tree back. And I love the fact that we can use the tree this way. So I do like the fact that we can use that tree both ways. Look, I'm staying tidy. Alison says, hi, Rachel. And do you like how I tell you she says hi as if you can't read for yourself? Don't ask me why I do that. It's just a habit. I did pull the stamp out, didn't I? Same here. So what I'm going to do now, I love the tree stamp as well. I loved your sample, Lynn, you know, with sort of the seasons with the tree. I loved that. Now what I can do here is I can see with my acetate and me in Lichfield. I hope you're well, Alison. I hope you're well. So I can see with my acid. So I'm going to have this bauble here hanging from this branch. I'm also going to brain my husband if he keeps walking outside the back garden. So I'm going to hang this from here. So I'm going to use that. So let's grab our acrylic block. Now just be mindful, stamps are well used like mine. Just remember that. Just make sure it doesn't need a clean at the back. Honestly, why do they walk around the back garden so that the ring doorbell goes off when they know I'm recording? I don't understand it. It's my family are just a law unto themselves. I may as well talk to myself. Right. So I'm going to see Glasgow. I've got a nice sunny day. Honestly, Heidi, why? I've told before we come up and do a live, and it goes like this. Right, I'm going live now, Ian, so don't put the telly on too loud, don't shout and don't swear. Then I walk into the lounge where Ryan is and I say to Ryan, don't go on your game so you don't drain the network, don't swear and don't shout. And they do everything I've told them not to. Ooh. And they'll say the bin needed emptying. I said, yeah, but I was live. It doesn't matter, they just ignore me. Absolutely every time they just ignore me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take Twilight. I love this Twilight ink. They never listen, Anne. They never listen. Well, mine don't anyway. And I'm going to use my Twilight ink. And what I'm going to do, I've got the blue, the Twilight. And don't do what I'm doing here and get quite close to this work here. And this is calm crafting. Martine, do you know the worst thing? Ian does the cooking, not me. Left to me, Martine, they would starve. There's no cooking from me. So I can't even, you know, say that. Right, you're getting no tea. Because I'm the one that would, Sally. There's just something about it. So I've got my Twilight ink on there. So that'll give me the outline. And then I'm going to use Blueprint Sketch. So I'm going to add a little bit of Blueprint Sketch. and it'll just give me a little bit of a guide. I'm obviously not hitting the stamp. There we go. It is a lovely colour, Lynn, it really is. And then, yeah, Snap Heidi. That's because you can't do Facebook Lives, pack orders and cook. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to take my kitchen roll and I'm just going to diffuse the ink a little bit, just so that it's not quite so harsh. And then I can aim for my little branch, which I couldn't think the name of. Yes, Ian does all the cooking. Because if he didn't do the cooking, we'd all starve. I knew there was a reason I live on my own. You see, Ruth, it has its advantages and they are still outside. Either he's outside or there's a hedgehog and there's no way it would pick that up. Can I borrow him? No, Ian does some lovely meals. Now, don't forget, I have to have quite basic food, but he does some lovely meals. I couldn't promise you I could eat it. That wouldn't be worthwhile, Marie. Let him cook and then you won't eat it. So can you see I've got a beautiful outline now? Let's just lift this up so that you can see, just in case. If there's anybody I missed saying hello to, I'm saying hello now and I do apologise. I bet he hasn't left the cooker in a mess since the last time, Tracy. No, Diane. Guess why? Because he now has an air fryer. So can you see? I've got it on the little branch here. And also I've got a bauble that's very patchy. What that does is it gives me a strong outline. So it's automatically shaded before I even do anything. It's already shaded. So we've got that on there. But you can see I've not done anything with the bottom. The mess he made of the cooker that time, honestly. So what I'm going to do, just so that I don't have to turn my hand, I'm going to turn my card a little bit because sometimes it makes it a little bit easier for you to see. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to grab my brush and we'll use a little acrylic block. Seems strange going live on a Saturday night. I wonder if, did anybody see if Amanda was on? Because they were having a workshop today. Oh, thank you, Sue. What I like is when you first start with a piece of white card and you think, where am I going to go? And sometimes you stamp something and you think, nope, I don't like that. But I love it. Then suddenly you get to the end and you think, oh, yes, I really like that. So I'm going to use Blueprint Sketch and I'm going to add that to my little paint palette acrylic block. And I will grab another brush just so that we don't have to faff with one brush because I know how frustrating I can be. And then I'm going to grab Mode Lawn. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to use Mode Lawn, but I do like it. So let's just leave a little bit of the green there. Fabulous. Oh, you were there at the workshop, Martine. Brilliant. You've had a fab time. So you've done a workshop and now you're watching a live. Oh, bless you. Thank you for joining me when you've had a busy day. I'm glad you've all had a good day at the workshop. So I'm going to add a little bit of water here. Probably driving back. That's true, Martine. Yes, that's true. Amanda is away today, so yes, workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting this on the side because then you can see I'm working here. I know it looks like a funny position, but it saves me sort of trying to turn my hand like this. I'm glad you've had a good day, Martine. Alison says, hi, Sally. So what I'm going to do is I've got my paint palette here. Hello, Kelly. Oops, fell asleep and then jumped awake thinking I'm missing something important. Kelly, you sound as bad as me. So can you see I've got this blue on here. It's not super wet. It's just to add this colour just to my bauble and water. With lovely Lisa as well. Oh, brilliant. I'm glad they're spending the day together. That's lovely. So what I always do is I start off and then I can add more. To some extent with the oxides you can take it away a little bit, but I only just like to start with a little bit. And can you see I've got this kitchen roll here because if I've got too much moisture I can really just dab that off. So now obviously my Twilight pad, but that's fine The reason I've added that permanent colour is just to give it some dark shading. And can you see my brush is almost dry and I'm sort of dragging that out. So I'm just dragging that out. Yes, is Lisa okay? We've not seen much of Lisa. 53 watchers. It's not bad really, is it? But I'm going to add the mowed lawn now. I'm actually not going to use a new brush. Thank you, Diane. So I'm going to take the mowed lawn. So let's take some of that mowed lawn. And you can see it's not flooded with colour. And I'm going to take a little bit of the mowed lawn. You've not got much blend. So take a little tiny bit of water. Try not to flood your project. Try to be mindful about not flooding it. Just use a tiny bit of water. And again, if my voice goes quiet, that forces me to use a tiny bit. Don't ask me why. So I'm going to take a little tiny bit of water again, and I'm just going to pick up the colour I can't remember the name of, Blueprint Sketch. It was Blueprint Sketch, wasn't it? Yeah. And then I'm going to go back to this line of the blue. And you can see I've not cleaned my brush. I've not cleaned that. And what you'll find is, let's turn this round, is the green's lovely, isn't it? But what you'll find is, because you're sort of pushing it. So if we grab the heat tool, so let's grab that heat tool. I'm going to give this a little bit of a dry. So let's give that a little bit of a dry. You don't have to go over, but I'm trying considered and not work in an inch of space. I was determined today, and I was also determined to get my camera closer because Facebook last time decided to do something stupid. So I was determined to get it right. Now, I've got a little bit of water and I've got my paint palette again. Now, when I come in now, I'm going to be layering the colour because I've dried the surface. And because I've dried the surface, I'm now layering the colour. It's layering on top rather than sort of merging together. Yes, the oxides layer on top of each other, but more so if you're blending. But I'm sort of diluting, add the colour, but I want to layer the colour. And I want to show that you can layer the colour. Now, can you see, with the blue, it's changing that colour a little bit. And we don't want to do that. So always be mindful that if you're going to use two colours together, obviously if I'm going to mix that dark blue with this green, it's not going to stay true to its colour. So let's have another brush. And now you can see, take a little bit of that moisture off. And then we can come in and we can just add a little bit more of that green. Don't use too much water. You don't want to use too much water. And I know that I'm doing this at a funny angle just so that you can see what I'm doing just initially. So that's why I'm at a bit of a funny angle. I have never had enough white space. I love your projects, Lee. You get lovely depth on your projects with your colouring. It's beautiful. Take a little bit of Twisted Citron. So I'm going to take a little bit of Twisted Citron. And what I'm trying to show here is that if you're a beginner, you won't have everything. You won't have all the coloured pencils. You won't have every ink colour. So what I'm trying to show you is that you can get a reasonable finish just with your inks. This green that I'm now using is Twisted Citron. So I'm just using my Twisted Citron. Now remember, I did put some dark oxide here as well. So remember that. So I'm using my Twisted Citron just to come in here. And then I'm going to give, so let's give this a little bit of a dry. That one you did today was stunning. It was, I agree, the one with sort of the gates. It's gorgeous, isn't it, Sue? comments have disappeared. Sometimes that happens, Janet. That does happen sometimes. So can you see I've dried it again? No problem, Heather. It's nice to speak to your son, that he actually rings you. So what I'm going to do then, rather than try and sort of work with it like that, I'm going to turn my bauble. So I've got my water, and I'm going to take a little bit of water to the dark blue. And I've got my kitchen roll on one side, if you're wondering what I'm doing with my brush. I've always got kitchen roll on one side. That still isn't sort of rich pigment, but I don't want it to be too watered. So I'm picking up this rich pigment again. So let's pick up the rich. It does, doesn't it, Kim? I love some of the greens with the blues. But now we're just building up a little bit more depth. Yes, Lee has moved house, so she hasn't had time to be creative. So it's lovely to see Lee back in the group creating. She had to get all the space all sorted. So now I'm just building that depth up. So we're now going to go to our mowed lawn. So we go to our mowed lawn. And the reason I'm doing it on an acrylic block is I can spritz this afterwards and create another background for another project off. It was gorgeous, I agree. Do you like how neat I'm working? So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pick up the mowed lawn. Now, what I will say is, if you just want, you know, a reasonably quick make, then obviously you won't be adding as smoother. But if you want to add layers and you give that bauble some lovely depth, then you add layers. I'm then just using the Twisted Citron. So let's use the Twisted Citron. And we'll just pick up a little bit of the Twisted Citron. And we'll just come in with our, and just, now, if you wanted to really take it up another level, you could come in with your pencils, because your pencils would give that even more definition. But all we've used is some ink. So you could give that even more definition. Because those pencils, you could go over the top and just add. Because you've not broken down your card too much, you could also go in with all this out of the way. And let's bring in another piece of 4x6 inch card. Let me just make sure this is 4x6. It is 4x6. And I've got this ink on here. So let's just add a little bit of water to this. I love working with my pencils as well, Kelly, but your colouring is beautiful. So I'm just going to add the rest of the ink just to my spare piece of card, just so that we don't waste that ink. Plus, you may as well create another background while you're at it. And when we're doing the Facebook Lives, we may as well. Now, if I lift this up, it'll just move to here. And Janet loves the polychromos. I'm a Prisma colour girl, but I also love polychromos as well. So you can see that it's left, and if I press this, it's still moving. That colour is still moving. Now, if I'd got time, you can just leave to pick it up, do I? So let's leave that on one side. Okay. So you've got your pencil, your Distress Oxides, and we've shown, oh bless you, Kelly, it's with your inks, and you can carry on doing that. Obviously, we haven't finished giving it more life, but let's just give that another dry. Why am I drying the card so much? Well, when I'm using multiple mediums, and what I mean by that, gold leaf, I'm using pencils. When I'm doing that, I like to break down that card too much. So let's just pick some pencils out randomly, just randomly. Because as you know by now, I don't do anything the way you're supposed to do it. Right, there you go. So those of you that are colourists, you will know that you build I understand that, and I understand you get the best results with that. But with this, I'm trying to show that you can also sometimes cheat just a little bit and get a good enough result if you're a beginner. Just hello there. So my card is pretty dry. Now this is indigo blue, a very dark colour. Heather says, hi Heidi. So it's a very dark colour, PC901. Now you can leave it like this if you want to, and we can add some white touches, we can add some gold touches. Yes, you can buy the colours individually, which is really handy. So I'm just going to come in and just indigo. Now, I'm a great believer that obviously the more time you put into a project, the more layers you add, obviously your results are going to be slightly different. But I'm quite happy with the inks as well. You don't have to necessarily add the pencils. But can you see where my fingers are on the pencil? I'm just adding a very light layer, and again I'm doing that quiet voice because I can't help myself. So just a very light layer. I got a set of 24 pencils, but now wish I'd got the bigger set. I got the bigger set, I think, violet blue, PC933. And I'm just going to come in with a little bit of the violet blue. And what you have to remember is I'm just layering that colour very, very lightly. And what I'm also trying to show you is if you change your mind and you think, oh, my card's ruined because I've added inks and I'm not happy with it, what I'm showing you here is you can just take it up another level just with your pencils. So I'm using Spring Green here, PC913. So I'm just adding a little bit of the Spring Green. So maybe you've added the oxides and you're thinking, it's still not very good. It's still not got enough oomph. Yay, Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa. So if it hasn't got enough oomph to appeal to beginners, as well as some of those of you that are very experienced crafters. In fact, some of you are more experienced than I am. So I'm just adding a little bit of that Spring Green. And then these are my Prismacolors. So then I'm going to be using Chartreuse. Chartreuse is just my light colour to bring a little bit of lightness in there. Again, can you see where my hands are on that pencil? Very easy to use colours. So if you use a light, medium and a dark green, they blend beautifully and blend quite easily and in less time. Obviously, when I'm going from a very, very dark colour that's a blue and then into the green, sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But I'm quite happy, so I'm going to add another layer of my pencil just to give it a little bit more richness. Now, can you see where my fingers are on the pencil now? They're a little bit further down. Now 3 to 4 layers, and then you may go in afterwards with some white layers very lightly. Because I've added the Distress Oxide, I'm not going to go in with that many layers. I'm going to go in with less layers. So I'm going to use my Violet Blue 933 as my second. I'm going in to that darker blue. So be mindful that I'm not adding as many layers as I usually do when I'm going straight on white card. So I'm not adding as many layers. We have our indigo blue, our violet blue, 901 and 933. Also be mindful that Tracy doesn't do a colour swatch. All the professionals do a colour swatch. I just go for it. Mainly, I haven't got space in my craft room for 100 colour swatches. That's just me. You have to work with what works for you. But I find the Prismacolors, for somebody like me who, you know, is not a colour artist, they work beautifully and they blend beautifully. So I've now got my green, which is the Spring Green, which is 913. Oh, you're waiting for my videos. I'm going to use my Chartreuse, which is one of my favourite colours, just to add a little bit of that lightness. And now for me, I've got a bauble that I'm quite happy with. Let's just bring those comments further down. But I've still got a dark, a medium and a light, so I love that. And Dee loves her oh, she's got polychromos too. So I've got a dark, a medium and a light. There we go. I also think it's a good idea to give your card a rest. If you're going to add 4 layers to your card, rest before you go in and add some of the layers, because it really helps, I think. So I've got a reasonably good blend there. So let's come in and let's bring in, oh, thank you, Dee. So we've got my lovely Inktense pencil. Now, what we have to remember about these lives is I've seen quite a few comments. I saw one on a card making group mentioning, why do people do long videos? So the reason I do long videos is creative almost 30 years ago. My aim was that education was going to be very important in whatever I did, whether I had a business or whether I was just a crafter. Education was always going to be part of that. So for me, sometimes I will do short videos, but if I want to go into great detail, I don't tend to, I do some long videos. And my answer to that is, if you don't like a video, which because it's too long, I would say don't tune in. Hello, who's Callie saying? Hello, my little friend. So I've got some water here and I've got my Inktense pencil. So I've got plenty of green in there and we don't want that. So always, always clean your brushes. Because if you are using your watercolours, for instance, with your watercolours, you really want to work with clean water where you can. So we don't want to blend that red. We get a lot of detail and information. I quite understand that it's not for everybody. And because I'm a visual learner, I'm trying to appeal to those people who are visual learners and who, like me, don't like reading instructions, because instructions just boggle my mind. So I don't like them. So what I'm going to do, Inktense pencil. Now this little bit of Inktense pencil will just give me a little bit of shading, just to give a little bit more of a 3D. Exactly, watch on replay and fast forward. But the messages still go round. And then those that do long videos then feel bad because they do long videos, and they shouldn't really, because we all have different things we like. So now I've got a little bit of shading round here. Oh, and me, Helen, I'm a visual learner all the way. So you can see we've got a reasonable blend there. There's still a bit more work to do, but we can also add, but let's bring this in. So what I want to do is I just want to add a little tiny bit of text in here. Now on the TE set of £23 off Amazon, I picked up the large black edition. I've got black, hang on, because they're gorgeous on black card. Is that them? Faber-Castell black edition. I've got them as well. They're yummy. They've got yummy colours in there and they work lovely on the black card. Smell nice as well. I love your videos. Oh, bless you, Louise. Thank you. Ooh. Right. Stamp. We've got this tree silhouettes, bare branches and stillness of the season. So I'm going to use a little bit of that text. So I'm going to take a little bit of that text and I'm going to take my Twilight ink. So I'm going to take the Twilight ink. And I'm just going to add a touch of the text. Can you see I'm just curling it a little bit? Just to get a little bit of that text. There we go. And the reason I'm curling it is I don't sort of want any straight edges. Thank you, Trace. Thank you. It's lovely to have your company. So while we're just blotting that, so let's just blot that. And now we've left this here long enough. It fell off. And look at the background we've got. We've got a beautiful background now. Just by our card. Isn't it a little bit? You could quite easily add the fence post. Just a little bit, maybe of a little owl or something. You don't need much on there. And it would be quite nice just as it is. It's even got all the splatters of water as well. I just love I always love an extra background. So I was talking then and forgot what I was blotting. So this is the problem with me. So you need to give that a blot, or because you've added that Inktense pencil. Now, when you've added Inktense pencil, you've got that waxy base. And because you've got that waxy base, so you need to give that a dry, because that waxy surface is sleek. So it's just going to slide off. So just give it a dry and a blot, and then we're okay. Lovely. So I think we should add some touches of gold just to give it some life. So let's add some touches of gold to that just to give it some vibrancy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Quickie glue pen, and you breathe deeply now, hoping that it actually butterfly brain. I think I'm more grasshopper. Butterfly brain floating. Oh yes, I get that now. So I'm going to use my Quickie glue pen, and I'm just going to add some gold touches. And I'm not making it so the gold touches are exactly the same everywhere. So I just want some little gold touches. So let's have some gold touches on the branch. And slip then. Oh, bless you, Diane. So Diane's been with me all the way through COVID. I think a lot of you have actually, and Dee. And so I'm just adding some of my Quickie glue pen. And what you have to remember is, you have to remember that the Quickie glue pen needs to sort of, not cure, but it goes from blue to a white. So you need to give that chance to do that, not like Tracy does. And what Tracy does is, she adds the Quickie glue pen and then adds the gold leaf 30 seconds later and wonders why it doesn't stick. Because it hasn't had a chance to do what it did 5 years ago. Well, it's not long off, but it won't be short of 6 years. COVID as well. And some of you I knew before. So I'm just adding little dots of the gold. No, I'm not. I'm adding dots of the Quickie glue pen. Like, what were you saying about butterfly brain? Well, I read my Quickie glue pen. Thank you, Kim. You're looking at this. Can you see those dots? I'm trying to tilt it so you can see. I've got those dots on there. Can you see? So it looks like it's pretty clear. I'm more sheep brain, very stupid, and follow others through the field. Do you know, I think I might be with you there, Leslie. I love how we've all become crafty friends, and I love it. I feel so chuffed because you've all stuck with me all this long. I can't believe it. I've waited on for this long and you've all stuck with me. Pitters, look at this low tack tape into me. So I'm going to take this. Now don't make me laugh, don't make me sneeze. So I'm going to add the gold leaf. Now what I find with this is, now I'm going to talk quiet so that I don't breathe and cough. Oh, me, so sorry. So I'm going to add the gold leaf. Now what I find is, you know, when you're adding Quickie glue pen like this, you'll find that it's better to use really fine pieces of gold leaf. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing I can do. It must be the weather in certain areas. This is potluck that you take with Facebook. But the good thing is I will add it to YouTube, so don't worry, you won't miss anything. I'm trying not to breathe, sneeze or anything. Now, what you need to remember is, don't use big lumps of gold leaf because you've only put little tiny dots of this glue, and thick lumps of gold leaf won't stick. Be subtle, not a forest of gold leaf. Oh, bless you, Sue. Sometimes I have to tap on the comments twice and then they come up again. So let's just... So can you see how little gold leaf I'm using? And I'm not going to risk it for a biscuit. I'm going to just make sure that that's all I've got. So if you use thick lumps, you're not going to get anywhere. Also, if your ink isn't dry, you're going to smudge it. So be mindful that your ink is dry. So I'm using it because I've got it in the cupboard and I refuse to let it go to waste. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put that back in my pot. I'm not putting every little bit back in the pot, but we'll put this back in the pot just so that we've got some back in there. So you can see how little you've used. I'm going to grab some clean kitchen roll, and then I'm going to. So what we've learned from this live is that don't go live on a Saturday night because it's too busy, or I think it's more the weather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some kitchen roll. I've got no scoochies or anything like that, so I'm going to use kitchen roll, and I'm just going to dust as if I'm dusting. So I'm just going to dust that. Can you see how much? Let's just. You end up with it everywhere, look. Absolutely everywhere. I found Tracy through Lisa. Yes, you did. I think you were watching one of Lisa's lives, weren't you? There's no point me trying to sweep this up because it's going everywhere and I refused. So let's not worry about it. We'll just put it on the floor. We can hoover it up, can't we? So you're just giving that a little dust. But if you want to... Oh, bless. Can you imagine adding little bits of gold leaf to this as well and then developing around it? So it's great how it just inspires you. So let's remove this low tack tape. And Trudy found me through Lisa, you see. I've got a lot to be thankful for to Lisa, you see. Tack tape in the right order. There we go. Let's remove this. We haven't finished yet. So now I've added my gold leaf. So you've got a little bit of shimmer. Let's just make sure you can see the shimmer. Just twiddle it a little bit. Oh, we see Anne-Marie's found me through Lisa. Oh, you poor souls. You found me and now you're having to put up with my waffle. So you can see we've got our beautiful gold leaf on there. This. So what I'm going to do, and I'm grateful to for having your company as well. Exactly, you can watch it tomorrow and then hopefully it'll be okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm picking this water up and I'm just going to add some texture with some water as well. So we're going to add some splatters now with some water. Our Distress Oxide, because that's what we want to do. We want to affect that Distress Oxide. Just to get some of that oxide. I love watching you in the waffle. Bless you, Trudy. Maybe when you've put up with me for a few months, you'll be thinking, oh, good grief, I wish that woman had shut up. So let's just splatter a bit more. So we're now adding water afterwards. Oh, bless you, Diane. Don't tell your daughter that. So let's just give this a clean, like that. So we're just going to give that a few moments just so it can take effect. Just give it a few seconds. I can really see myself in some of the things you say. You need to worry, Helen. So I'm just going to soften this and then I'm just going to dab my colour now. So I'm going to dab the colour. So let's just dab. And obviously it'll be the background that reacts because we've covered up the other oxide with that waxy layer. Just so that you can see sort of the mottled effect as well, because it really, really adds to it. So we've got the mottled effect as well. I'm then going to take my, so where have you gone? Here. I'm just going to clean this. So I want to add to that. So I'm going to take this stamp now that's from TE3038, which is the silhouettes. we're going to take our Versamark because I want to add some white now. I want to give it a bit of a oof, you know, a bit more. So we're going to add some white and a piece of copier paper just to add some touches of white. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to go over the top. Now you've seen that I've added moisture to this. So what the first thing I need to do is give that a little dry. Oh, thank you, Kim. Now the reason you need to give it a dry is because your embossing powder will stick everywhere if you don't. An anti-static band and your card is still wet, the embossing powder will still stick where you don't want to do it. Oh, bless you, Lee. So remember to dry as well as using your anti-static bag. But if you have breathing difficulties, please remember powder comes out of this. Just my stamp, and I'm going to use my Versamark ink. And what I want to do is just add some white text. And I don't mean let's add white text absolutely everywhere. What I mean is be mindful. So, and what I do is if I don't know whether I'm going to like something, I do a few areas first and then I can have a view of it, because that's embossing powder. I tell you what, my desk's getting full now. So I've got my opaque bright white embossing powder, and I've already forgotten where I pressed the stamp because that's me, and I think it was somewhere over here, wasn't it? Can you tell? If I lift this up, you can see I've got a little bit there and I've got a little bit here. So I know I've not overdone it. Bye, Dee. I know I've not overdone it. Thanks, Anne. So what I'm doing is I'm a little bit more. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding it over some of the dark areas. Just a few little bits. And if I sprinkle where I've done it, because if I don't, I soon forget. So I like to sort of sprinkle my embossing powder and I can see exactly where I've gone. So let's add a little bit more. So you can see I'm just judging how much white I want to add. And I'm going to heat this up and see what I've got. Everybody's saying night to Dee. I feel like I'm going to bed now. Night, Rumble. There we go. So I'm now going to grab my heat tool. We won't be much longer now. So let's just grab our heat tool. Hang on, I can see a bit of embossing. So I've got a little bit of embossing here. So I don't want it on the end there. Let's just be... Now we'll give this a heat. Now heat your heat tool up. Just so that you're not sitting there forever. And just heat. And a little bit of white just lifts the card a little bit. So let's just... Now, I'm not saying that you need to add loads. Stop shaking your heat tool, Tracy. So just adding a few touches of white. There we go. So we've got a few touches of white, and then I want to do just a couple more touches so that it's a bit more cohesive. So I am going to be, you know, at least another 10 minutes. So just to be a little bit more cohesive. So I just want to do one more thing. So let me grab TE21. And let me just grab the stamp first, then you know what I'm using. So I'm using TE21, Holly and Berries. And on there is a very simple little tiny berry. And if you look at Sue Bingham's sample, it might be, no, today's in her tree, which looked lovely. And what I'm thinking now is, where's my damn acrylic block? Can you see how this, so that the bauble, it's sort of connected some way. So can you see this little tiny berry I've got on here? Just on its own, little tiny berry, just there on its own. There it is. I'm going to use that. And what we're going to do is Are you? We're going to use, it wouldn't be complete without 10 minutes of farming. I'm going to take Verdant. You know me too well. Why have I stuck it there? I mean, why? Why not stick the little tiny thing up in the corner there, just so it makes it a little easier to do now, is I'm sort of going to connect a few little green berries. If you don't want to connect these berries, you can just use a circle dot with your own pen. So I'm having to tilt this slightly because of the light. So I'm adding a few of these little berries just every now and then to bring that green background. It looks a little bit more considered and a beautiful colour. One more so that we've got an odd number. Let me just put you there. But it just brings in a little bit of that green without too much green, if that makes sense to you. Let's clean that up. So let's then add our white splatters so it's got time to dry. So let's add some splatters. Lovely. Then we can just let that dry a second, and then we want to grab, I've got a piece of white card, I'm sure that's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I always think the finishing touches make a big difference. I agree with you, Sue. Sometimes it's not until you do the finishing touches. So what I want to do now is, thank you, Lynn. So I want my own backing paper now. So I'm going to use my blueprint sketch. And let's just see what blueprint sketch we've got on our blending brush. Now, you saw how much ink I added in the beginning. I added quite a bit of ink. So I don't really need to add any more ink to my blending brush. We can just use whatever ink is on there. And you could actually spritz that. So let's just... So we want this to all coordinate. You have to be considered because you don't want to just chuck it together. Oh, thank you, Helen. So let's take our water brush. This isn't a water brush, it's a fan brush, Tracy. And let's just add a few splats. Well, then it looks like it's a purposeful piece of backing paper that we've created ourselves, and it coordinates with our background because we splattered the background. So let's give that a little bit of a clean. There will be videos where I literally just do half an hour. This isn't one of them. As you can see, this is not one of them. So now I'm going to adhere this, hoping that she's got glue in her little plick. I always add my wet adhesive to the centre. Because, oh, thank you, Susan, thank you. I can't tell you how much it means. I like the fact that you like warts and all. So let's just grab that there, like that. So if your card's a little bit bent, don't forget you can put it in between a heavy book, or like me, you don't forget to press in the middle. When you've got it in the area, take a piece of copy paper, and then you're not touching your card with any mucky fingers. And if you've got mucky fingers, just give them a clean. There's no point... Oh, bless you, Sally. There's no point making a white card and thinking it'll stay white if you've got dark blue fingers. Thank you, Rafaela. Thank you. Bless you, Kim. So let's just... There we go. So now I've got that all stuck down. And there's a little bit there that's going to irritate me. So let's use this little applicator and stick that down. I can't have a card that's stuck so much. So I'm going to, stop saying so, I'm going to use a piece to the card blank. Make sure it's facing the right way, and you know why I say that every time, because by now you'll know that I've done lots of upside down cards. So let's just add that. Now you can leave the sentiment off because you can just put Christmas. You don't want anything too bulky. So you could just put the word Christmas, or you can just leave it as it is. I'm not going to add a sentiment. I'm going to leave it as it is. Again, you can take it as far as you wish. You're very welcome, Kate. So then you've got your little berries that bring the finishing touches, but we've still got just one little touch missing. I shall have a go at this. Oh, brilliant. Now, don't forget your little touches, a bit like my little pencil. There it is. Now, Helen, just add a little tiny bit of shading. Don't forget these little touches. Just add a tiny little bit of shading underneath your, thank you, Lynn, add a little bit of touches. You're just touching that with a little bit of shading, just a little touch. Don't forget to do that, and don't forget, I'm going to pick up the wrong pen. Can't tell whether that's the right one. Let me just check the other one. Oh, brilliant, Trace. I'm so pleased. I can't tell which is the right one. If you use black card, it would be much easier. But now you want to add, I was going to say you want to add some white touches. None of these are white. There you go. Personally, I would use your bleed proof. I'm going to finish it. Live tomorrow. Heidi is live tomorrow. So she'll have something special for you tomorrow. There might even be a giveaway. Just saying. Right, so let's just grab a little bit of this white. And then I'm going to use the bleed proof. Just because I can just add a little bit of white. So don't scrimp on just doing your finishing touches. Oh, thank you, Diane. So let's just add those white touches. You could just add little touches of white here and there. It just lifts the whole design, just here and there. To tidy your finished card, you've got depth, you've got dimension, blending, taking it from one step to another. You've got your shimmer on there. And you can keep enjoyed that. And I will see you soon for another live. You're very welcome, Heather. I do apologise for the signal, but thank you all for sticking with me. And thank you for joining me. I will put a photo of the card up tomorrow. And I will put it on YouTube tomorrow. Yes, it's 10 a.m. Thank you, Anne. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Thank you, Susan. Thank you all. Love to everybody and thank you for your support. Bye, everyone. Bye.